Hi, folks. Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Before we go into it, we need to thank our sponsors, being IndieCD.org, your one-stop shop for the best and the brightest authors, artists, musicians, and other collaborators to help you make your creative stories come true. If you're looking to shop small, please consider going there. We are made possible by sales of, let's get over here, because I dug it out. Excuse me, there's chaos. The Simple Sword, the Fighting Axe, and the Simple Spear, all part of my ongoing series of Western martial arts manuals designed to help you go from having never handled the sword to teaching the art to others. And most importantly, by Out in the Woods, Frog G, Ronald Rain, Bladed Thesis, Brian K. Morris, Cindy Kep, Steve Augusta, Don Dulas, and Angelina Vaquera Link, my wonderful, wonderful patrons without whom I could not afford to do any of the stuff I'm doing. And I put some of that money to good use. In fact, I just came skating in thanks to some car trouble about a couple minutes ago. Basically, when this jogged in, I got in, and then we had to fight StreamYard. But we are here. So, let me drop that because that doesn't need to be there. I also want to remind you, if you go to shop at Purple Heart Armory, which is my preferable retailer of training goods and, trainers, armor, things I can't make myself, woodenswords.com, use this little bit, and they'll know that I'm sending people. They also, I get a small percentage, kickback, if you will, for sending you guys, which I am totally okay with. Now, I have some, in my mad rush to get in, I got most of the parts for what I need to talk about leatherworking. So I will, at the bare minimum, I will introduce you guys to some of the leatherworking tools that I will be using, assuming I have everything here. And if not, I will figure out my way. We will improvise together for this first initial tweak. If I have to, and it's looking like I will, next week it may be a little spicier because this is how things go. My Fridays get interesting. But I'm going to do the comments first to give my body a chance to calm down because I have been just hoofing it going to arcane places like Walmart to find replacements for the gear that I can't find since we finally cleared out the storage unit and turned my downstairs into a warehouse. Literally in some cases. But first we'll go through the comments. And as always, feel free to discuss, interrupt, etc. And I am here to serve my community. I will warn you of a couple things. I have had to fight StreamYard massively to be able to keep my camera and my mic working. So at any point, those could get spicy. And we have another major weather change with very, very high winds for our scale. So we may be getting, looks like 30 mile an hour plus sustained winds. That means my internet may cut out at literally any point. I'm going to do the best I can with what I got. And if it cuts out, I will try to get in through my cell phone. And if I can't get the show back started, just shut the stream down and we'll start next week. So that everybody knows some of the rules we are playing by. Also, please, I ask you to like, share, and subscribe because it's hard to get the word out. And not only do I promote some great gear, but this is good education. And in the coming weeks, I expect my content to be very interesting and very useful. I'm trying to make some big changes towards that. I have a new manual. I would put myself at better than halfway through, being the Rapid Rapier. I want it out by the end of the month. Honestly, I want it out by the 20th. That ain't happening. Unless, I go insane in the next few days, which is always possible. But I did want to make sure that we have I'm sorry, unloading the car and doing things at in 30-mile-an-hour wind. It's spicy, but I want to make sure that we have all the opportunities to get the word out, and it's just rough. So first, I'll hit your comments, and then we will go through what I can manage with the gear I have reacquired. And that's one of the big things. You'll notice I'm farther back from the camera. That is not your eyes playing tricks on you. I am trying to get my workspace, because I need a solid, preferably wooden work table to do what I am doing on for some of this. And I will list my parts, my tools. But first, let's go through the comments, and we'll knock these out because there aren't too many of them. First through the door is Foxy. Evening, everyone. Hi, Foxy. And evening, Trey. How are you? I hope you're having a good one. How's everyone tonight? And hello, ladies. Hello, Thesis. Yeah, I'm going to have a delay in my comments coming up because apparently the internet is being that stubborn. Hey, doing well. I've got a couple new old manuals come in. Oh, they're in. And more on the way. I am excited to get into them. Yes, I am glad that Trelana's getting her library built/rebuilt. I will be doing the same with mine in the near future. I have quite a few manuals, but there are ones that were lost in the move, and I found some things that have been damaged, which is sad. But I'm really eager to hear about her reports on some of those. New manuals, what about? 2 Gigante manuals. Oh, Gigante. A Bartitsu manual. Love to know which one it is. A Scottish Fencer's Memoir/Fighting Manual, and the Armored Rose. These are all very good, very high quality manuals. I recognize most of them. There are a couple options for the Scottish Fencer's one. I actually have a very good book on Scottish fencing, and I looked to where it was before the table came down. It's fun when your folding table just ceases to be a table. We're making it work, though. Fun stuff, indeed. And we're joined by Ruby again. Hello, Ruby. Hope you're having a good one. Hey. Good to see you. Hi. Hey, kitty. Learned your shin bone can pop. 10-10 would not recommend. Ow! Yeah. Kitty says, Trey, I want to thank you for taking Ruby under your wing and being such a great teacher. I can tell she is learning from you because she's asking me some new questions. And Foxy, ow. Okay. The Scottish manual is my fault. Excellent. That's wonderful. I take it you have a cultural or genetic tie to Scotland and Scottish fighting? Kitty, I've been having so much fun talking with Ruby. Thank you so much for putting us in touch with one another. I am so undeniably proud of Trelana. She is far more elegant and eloquent than I can be. But since I've caught up, let's start talking about our friends, the tools. Now, I will be showing you tools. I will tell you roughly what I paid for them. Oh, I should be drinking the thing that actually has calories. Anyway. And we're going to get through what I'm going to do. Processes. I will try to rearrange the camera rig. Heaven help me, it may get a little funky in here. And, oh, no, Ruby. He's also got the very background, so he's very much someone I want to study. Excellent. Now, it's been a long time since I've had the pleasure of sitting and poring over a manual. Well, we'll start with this. I mentioned a rotary punch. That's what this is. This is a Tool Shop brand one I got from Menards for less than $10. It has 6 sized hole punchers. And what this does is you just squeeze it, and it puts a very nice little hole in the material you're working with. Because I'm planning to do some sewing, if all goes well, there is the hole for the smallest hole. That will give me a little tiny, relatively tiny, I want to say eighth of an inch hole. So we have that, and it makes a little cookie cutter piece that comes out. I thought I saved some to show you guys. I know I did. Because I was cleaning this out to double check it. And you get pieces like this. And there's really not much to do with them, but it does come out. Excuse me, I'm bumping my gear. Normally I would use a rubber mallet, but I may need a little more force, and I can't find my rubber mallet. But I can find my persuader, Crystal Blue Persuasion, the sledgehammer of subtlety, that I carried every day I worked at Home Depot. This is a 2-pound short-handled sledge. A lot of very machismo guys will tell you that that's not a very big hammer for hammer things. This is more than enough hammer for hammer things. And the nice thing about a heavier hammer, if you can get it, it will do more of the work for you. Biohazard confetti. Oh, McBain. Oh, okay. It is getting a little loose, so we'll have to check on that. Now, more specialty tools I had to go down and dig out, and I was able to find, and this literally is, believe it or not, my backup anvil, my backup mini anvil. It's quite nice. I'll say it's a 3-pound anvil. Oh, it's less than that. But this is a little jeweler's anvil or leatherworker's anvil from Tandy. You could tell I just pulled this out because it still has rust. And normally I would not let any of my tools get in the condition these are. I am offended, but we will address that because I need a hard surface I can smack to set things on. Now, I went to Walmart and I bought some other very high-end tools because people ask, what do I do with the guild money? And usually it's things like this because I can't get at my usual tools. And I'm glad that you're not evil at all, Foxy. This is very useful. This is just a roll of wire by Ook. It was on clearance. And this is essentially the wire you find in a twisty tie, but without the twisty tie stuff. Little cutter. This is in the duct tape family of usefulness. So we keep that handy. And it can actually rewind it. So this is a really good package. It's been a little fidgeted with. We also bought dental floss. Now, why did I buy dental floss? Well, and yes, Thesis, you do need to go back and reread Yang Trees. Is there a gauge on that wire? Oh, this is very, very fine. A 24 gauge. It's 24 gauge wire. I have much heavier stuff out in the living room, but that's stainless surgical wire for jewelry making. But this is little 24 gauge wire that, while I don't, this isn't attached to this project, but sometimes you want to wire wrap a hilt. So having something like this is very handy. It is lightly coated in a nice green. And because it was on clearance, I mean, ooh, $1.50. You bet your booty I bought it. Oh, my neck knife is down there. And yes, my Iron Man light finally died. So I have to get a replacement. I am, yes, kitty. Now, to wrap up the majority of my purchases here. Oh, I'm sorry. Getting back to this. Sorry, I got distracted. Dental floss, I'm making a mess. Dental floss is good because when you're doing leather work, you need waxed thread to work best. It'll go through the leather. It'll hold better. It's a whole thing. Waxed thread is expensive. Dental floss is cheap. I would have got the super cheap stuff, but they put that on rollback to 97 cents, and the college kids bought it all. So I have some nice little, the cheapest was Oral-B. So I have that. I don't believe this is minty fresh. So, nope, it is. Almost all my leather projects end up smelling a little minty fresh because I use these kind of products. Now, hopefully, these end cutting shears will be sufficient for cutting off the ends of my rivets. I used to use a set of universal keys. Bolt cutters. But I did find that getting for the narrower work was difficult. So these guys might give me enough leverage to cut that solid copper and then have a piece to dish and dome. And I realize I will need my lighter hammer for the dishing and doming. So, or I'll just see if I still have the grace to dish and dome with a sledge. And yes, Ruby, you can get a lot of the manuals online. You can order them through Amazon. Should have no difficulty getting them in Canada. And if not, we'll look around and see what digital files I have tucked away. There used to be a site that had a whole bunch of them. And yeah, thank you. Nick has a line of manuals. I do recommend them. They're very informative. The Simple Sword has stick figures to make it very, very welcoming. And the Rapid Rapier, which is coming out, actually, Ruby, you're part of the reason I am working so hard to get the Rapid Rapier out quickly. But we have the thralls. These are old, not necessarily necessary, but these are my Singer fancy needles. So these are my fancy set of needles. Now, I'm sure Cindy Kep will recognize these. I like these, especially this number 4 fella here, because the eyelet is so big, it's very easy for me to thread, and I can just get going. The curved needles make it easier to get in certain places that you couldn't naturally, but we will see, because I have to decide what is what. Let's see. I saved the little tag that identified what is what. Number 3 is recommended for leather, and it has, if you look at it, you will see number 3 has developed a slight bend because I've used this a lot. And I like the upholstery needles. They get the job done. So if I get to sewing my needles today, sewing leather today, and we get there, I will be using the set that I've used for many years, as you can tell, because it is all quite beat up. I have no idea how much this would cost now. To remind you guys, we have this is a light grade of leather. I brought a heavier weight of leather. Leather is done in ounces. I am rusty on the numbers because I know by feel after all this time. If I were making the main parts of a gorget, I would use leather like this. You can see how stiff. This is, I believe, wax. Oh, is this vegetable? No, it's wax hardened. Wax hardened leather. This is from my private stock. I had to hold my breath to go get it, but you can see it's shiny, very stiff surface. If I were to bend this excessively, it would actually crease and kind of get really funky because of the style of hardening. This is more water hardened. Well, that's got a surface. We're going to stick to the suede stuff, but much more flexible, much lighter. It's about half the weight. Oh, thank you, Kitty. That is incredibly high praise. I've read Nick's Simple Sword. It's a good book, beginner's book to learn sword. Thank you. But we have this. We have these parts. If you guys want, I'll show you the rivets and setters. This is my box of rivets. I have not done this, wow, since before I moved down. So probably 8 years. I still know how. But these are size 12 rivets. Okay, so they're a little light for what I usually use. Here we go. You have rivets, which are this part, and you have burrs, which are that part. And I don't know if I have access to my ball peen hammer to properly peen the stuff, but we will figure it out. Experimenting, learn, try, make mistakes. We are going to do that together. And I will try to get the camera where it can be of service. If I can't, we'll do what we can. So, let's see. I've got the screen. Now, if I were to design something to shape, I would normally pick out a pattern, research it, look it up. I also would use my eyelet setters for what I want to make, but I don't have my eyelet setters right now. Let's see. I have the simple sword and the simple spear. Might get rapid rapier if I can afford it when it's done. The rapid rapier will be in the style and hopefully price range, roughly, of the simple spear and the fighting axe. It should be thicker, though, if all goes right. I have a lot I want to put on there. But what we need right now is my pair of scissors that I don't have. So I will have to improvise. Actually, I will have to go grab a pair of scissors if I'm going to do that. And I thought I had them with my gear. So what we'll do is we will go here. And that might change some stuff for you. Did it? No. Cool. That means I have the superpower to do this. And since we are on this program, and since I need a certain amount of time, I'll run this. Be back in just about a minute. Go that way. That chair needs to fall. Okay. That hurts, but I will deal with it. Thought I could get there in time. Did not expect to fall over. That's fine. We're making this work. Mostly. Hi. I had to find a lighter grade hammer, which I will be using this. This is not the right tool for the job. And I need my great big leather cutting scissors, which are in my old tool bag. Leather cutting scissors. These, I am actually quite brand loyal. Let me see. Keeps dance partying. Oh, the aliens, yeah, they tried. They tried. They usually do. Let me see. Anything else in here before I set this down that might be insanely useful? No. Groovy. We can make this work. We have the ever-present Sharpie, and I am certain I have something that will function as a straight edge. So, this has this nice little flap already integrated. That's a good thing to have. If I wanted to do, a simple leather project, I would be able to, if I decided what I want to do. So, I don't have the stuff to do a gorget. Yeah? No, I don't think I have enough of the right materials to do a gorget. So for now, we're going to do just a simple entry project. And I'm looking at the shape of the leather to figure out which project I can do. I could even do something like this, except I don't have my snap setter, which there are ways around that. But we'll do. And you can't see what I'm doing. Let me see. If I do that, can you... Aha! Victory! I would say ignore the chaos, but by now you all should be used to it. All right. Now, mini anvil. Yay! We just need to put a rivet in something so I can show you that it can be done on the improvisational. So, when you go down to the different leather supply shops for fencing goods, you know, your medieval collectibles and stuff, they may want to make something like this. We're going to ignore the beautiful knife for a second. Yes, it's a knife. Calm down, YouTube. We'll look at the sheath. Now, what I like about this particular one is, and I honestly don't know if it's stock or not, but they have two types of loop to this sheath. Being they have a slit loop, which is made by applying two slits in the leather, and they have a riveted loop, and they use tubular rivets, tubular. Okay. What we'll start off with is a concept like the slit, because what we're going to do is we're going to take a slit style for putting it on a belt, and then we will probably add something like a hammer loop, if you don't mind. But let's see, we have a comment real quick. Ruby says, I have a question about sword grips. Hit me. Trelena has shown me a couple pictures earlier, but I don't think either of them will work on with a standard handle. Okay. When you say sword grip, do you mean how you grip a sword? So like this, what style grip you're using? Or do you mean the grip as in the handle part? So I need to know a little bit more what you want, and then I'll be happy to, because you set up your question but didn't give me the question. So fire away. And I'm going to go through the left. Pistol grips and how I usually use a keyhole. Okay. The pistol grips, like on a fencing sword, are very ergonomic. So I can't demonstrate one without one because they are shaped uniquely. It is a modern invention. I am pleased that I found a live steel version for our good friend Al, but a keyhole grip. Where did you go? Where did you go? Oh, I moved and put you away someplace safe. Let me think. A keyhole grip works with grabbing over the quillions, making it much easier to maintain control. I quite like a keyhole grip. And I am sorry, the chaos has become unmanageable because I made piles that my loving cats ransacked. So, where did that go? That's been, oh, actually, I can sort of show you a keyhole grip. One moment. Everything fell off my desk. This, believe it or not, hold on. Let's just pull this up here because I feel silly. I am shorter than that. There we go. Is a form of a keyhole grip. And usually the quillion would be running like so. But we have a ring so you can see. It's this pinch, and it allows for a lot of control. And yes, it will work with quillions. Quillions are beautiful, beautiful things. My favorite sword hints have quillions on. I just can't seem to find where my favorite sword went. So, oh, I know. Let's be safe. I needed that. Simple sword. Oh, now. Oh, this is the beat up one. This is the image of the parts of a sword. You see how the guard or the bell, it has a couple names, covers the grip. It will allow you to grab hold over the quillion. Where did that go? I am very annoyed right now because I feel discombobulated, and I cannot find some important materials of my possessions to demonstrate a keyhole grip. It's really bothersome because I know I'm going to turn around as soon as the stream is done and be able to find it. How about it? Quillions. Yes, quillions are the cross pieces. I know how to explain this. If I can't see it, I will draw it for you. Okay. So give me just a second. Share screen. Window, share. Add to stage. We'll give it full screen because you don't need to see me for this part. And we will hide this, which is in the way, and grab a new image. Excellent. Now, no, I see what you're concerned about, and I'm going to give you a cutaway image. She said, "Oh yeah, showed me, but aren't you putting your blade over the guard that doesn't put your finger on the sharp part of the blade?" Okay. We are going. This is a cutaway. Of a fencing sword. Okay. Now, pardon I'm a little shaky because I didn't get dinner. But, actually, I should make these farther. Why am I not doing these as single lines? Okay. So, excluding the shakiness of my hand. When you have a hold of a rapier, so we'll just add the knuckle bow over here and the hilt. The primary hilt, the grip is right here. Okay? Your hand, it goes, here's your thumb, covering up this part. Because I've yet to find a trainer that has a decent grip. And the top finger goes like this. This part is called the ricasso. Now, at bare minimum, it is unsharpened. Okay? This part up here is sharpened. Yes, there is a whole thing. So, just adding that you can see edges. We're not going to worry about taper and all that. Just the concept of edges on that. This is the bell / cup. And this would be shaped like a bowl. Rest of the hand. Rest of the fingers. Knuckle duster. Knuckle guard. Sorry, my dyslexia got hold of that. And pardon the shakiness in all this. But you're grabbing, so it is, here, I need to bring myself somewhat into the picture. You're grabbing so that you have leverage from the cross piece, a lot like you're almost like you're using a pen, but we'll do that. It also lets you control the angle of the blade, which my favorite sword has that, and I can't find it or the live steel one. Okay. Or the trainer that I made that has a Ricasso. What is going on? What's going on is my study gets cleaned, this gets reset. Stuff got shoved in here, the chaos ends. But not, and that's true. That's why a ring grip doesn't work on every type of sword. So let me see. Add another layer, hide that. What we're talking about especially when we talk about a ring grip, this is almost exclusively a rapier small sword and rapier small sword and what do you call that thing? Main gouge gets spicy in there, but you will see swords, and let me try a different. Sometimes you will see swords with a little guard for the finger up here. You will see swords, and we're just going to ignore the length, like this horrible ring dagger trainer that I was just waving around. I got 2 of these. I would tell no one to ever use these. These are terrible because you will get your finger busted using these. But you can grab something like that and use a ring grip. But most of the time, you're either going to have 3 grips. You're going to have ring grip. Oh, hold on. Let me bring my lovely class up. 3 grips, ring grip. Sword / nice knife grip. And then you have what's referred to as hammer / ice pick. Oops, ice pick. Pardon like I said, my hands are a little shaky because I didn't get enough heat. I'm going to deal with that in just a second. But, so going over this, we've talked about ring grip. We'll hide that. So we will go sword grip. And note, this is all one-handed. I'd give you grilled cheese. The sword grip you will see often used is mostly determined by how the thumb is placed. So, you do the rest. A sword grip very much looks like a ring grip without the support. Okay? Your thumb is on the spine of a blade. So, spine. And very often this is popular with single grip weapons and knives. So, that looks in more real speech. Let me go here. Like this. This keeps your edge alignment very clear. It is not as strong as a hammer grip, but it allows, because if you see with that, this grip mirrors the female natural fist. So most females, when they make a fist, it looks like this. This is a very comfortable grip approach for a female. Oh, it doesn't have a belt. When I say standard handle, that's what I mean. A handle like you see on most European swords. Okay, so you're either going to have one like this, which is the classic sword grip, and that you see me demonstrate on all sorts of weapons. All fem thesis. I'll grab my gin because I've been dealing with them so much. My gin are out. See, still gives you blade alignment, very nice wrist control. If you take that grip, and that's the one you're probably going to learn, if you wrap it around a quillion, which you wouldn't do this with this, but even this has where you theoretically could, it gives leverage, but that's too much. If you use a hammer grip, which is the other grip, you're locked in. This is a much stronger grip. Oh, the French pronunciation is quillons. I prefer quillions because I can pronounce it, and most people, at least in America, say it. I'm not sure how French influenced, but we'll get there. The thing with a hammer grip is it mirrors a male's fist, so it will not be quite as comfortable initially. And it does shorten your strike because it naturally breaks off here roughly before you get to here. So if you're using a concussive weapon where you're doing a lot of blows, you're going to want to consider a hammer grip. If you're using something more linear, a rapier, an S-stock to an extent, gins get weird, so we'll leave gins mostly out of it. But even there, you're going to get a lot of keeping the blade online, keeping yourself together. The preference will be what works with your style and what works with your weapon. Now, if you're holding something that works more like an arming sword, an arming sword is going to favor a much tighter grip, a locked-in grip, because that's going to give you much more force in your cuts and in your overall grip against being parried from losing it. Purple Heart Gin. Okay. That is a wonderful trainer. It's a little flatter than this, which gives you a slightly more European grip. These are surprisingly rounded. The near perfect trainer, you would have to special order from Purple Heart because I designed it for them. I believe he called it the Italian Tactical Side Sword Trainer at one point. I can bring one of those out next week, but they're in the garage, so I have to make a request. Yes, kind of like the pronunciations. Some people say fort. Some people say forte. A lot of it comes from their background. Now, my problem is I've read the stuff in English. I've read it in French. I've read some of sword stuff in Latin and sat with the translation books to figure out what I was looking at. German. So I don't get hung up on the pronunciation games through because a lot of people will use that as sort of a gatekeeping measure or a superiority measure. Oh, no, the proper term is this, so I must be a better swordsman than you. It's balderdash. Fortunately, English likes to grab other people's languages, beat them up, take their pronunciation, take their plurals, shove them in the pocket, have a wonderful time. We're not even going to get to sorted conjugations. So we have to, find what feels natural to say and understand that people will argue about it, but it mostly is quite literally semantics. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This is the first trainer I bought for this channel that I had to tell people don't buy. But we're a little, wow. At this rate, I'm not even going to have time to peen a single rivet. So we'll see. But yes, I know you hate my enunciations. You also despise the fact that I still draw and sheath in the Japanese fashion. It's okay. My European trainers hated it too. I will tell you a terrible secret. What you learn first will always feel what most natural. As long as you aren't from an occasion where the swordmaster is deliberately trying to train you in something that hurts, which I've had to deal a lot with. The style that you hold first usually will feel the most natural. That's why I fight I did the most rapier, but I had a lot of saber influence in my initial fighting, and it still pops its ugly head, which leads me towards a side sword. In fact, my favorite sword on earth is technically a broadsword. Oh, okay. Ruby. Absolutely. I can't tell you enough how absolutely you can use a Chinese sword trainer in a European style. The other thing is a great many people don't realize how much of a severe speech impediment I have to work around. But let me put it this way. I'm going to show you something. Okay. This is my kindness axe, which wasn't what I was looking for. I thought it was something else. Okay, I have too many weapons around me. I never thought I'd see the day. Here we go. This is my everything stick. This is the trainer I use when I'm demonstrating various styles, ranging from full-on rapier fencing to katana work, Ijitsu, things like that, to Meyer greatsword. It is a tube. one of the great secrets that people don't want to discuss or respond to is the fact that for all the nationalism, for all the arguments, the elbow of a Ming Dynasty royal guard, okay, had the same range of movement as a European man at arms in the 1600s or the 1300s, has the same range of movement as a Marine, a United States Marine, currently learning the Jin tongue. And boy, did I mispronounce that as well. You will notice I pronounce a lot of things because I've read them but not heard them. The point is, to facilitate that, most weapons can be used in another style. I can and have demonstrated and explained how to work rapier motions with this very sledgehammer because I was on break at Home Depot and somebody asked about it. And ironically, this sledgehammer, this little guy right here, and a proper rapier are very similar in weight. And because this handle, this haft, is actually brilliantly shaped, there is a slight bit of curving to it, which I don't even know if you can see. It nestles the hand for the short-handled applications very well. But you can spine grip it, hammer grip it, ice pick grip it, tanto grip it. As long as the pieces, so like I said, tanto grip, hammer grip, sword grip. If it had cleans, I put a ring grip on it. If you like it, put a ring grip on it. But with with whatever you have, you can train as long as the blade is roughly between 2 and 3 feet long, and you can get one hand around it. If it has a guard, great. If it has a pommel, great. Can you use it for what it's intended to better? Yeah. Should that stop you if you can't? Nah. It's all about making do with what you have at the level you're at. It's all about getting started, feeling the rhythm, feeling the flow, and really moving towards what works for you and how your body personally wants to move, and then mirroring a style that will reach it. That's why I'm very fond of this particular little stick. At one point, you asked some concerns about the inherent violence in what we do. As I said, the styles I have learned can be translated quite nicely to a cane or what's called a rod or a cudgel or any number of blunted weapons that won't be nearly as deadly but still include pain, including thrusts. And yes, the Chinese curved sword, the Hang Ling Dao, and I know my enunciation is terrible, that's okay, in a European saber style, it is very easy to transfer when you realize the weapons aren't that far apart. You can use a katana in saber style, not bad. A wakizashi, you can easily convert that. So when you learn something, learn it with the mental flexibility to go, oh, okay, this object can fight like that. And that is very important when you start thinking about self-defense applications. Because when you learn how to use a one-handed sword, for example, it will... Oh, wakizashi is the shorter. If you think mental... you know, if you've ever seen it, there are 3 sets of swords in the traditional Japanese set. And sword, we're being loose for it, but set of weapons. You have the full-length katana, which looks like that guy over there. A shorter version that's actually not far from the proportions of this, but slightly curved, called the wakizashi. Now, for shorter people, the modern wakizashi fits very well, and you will find that the wakizashi is also the size of the old katanas that the Japanese used in period because they were physically smaller people. So it gets really interesting. It starts to become about the proportion of the wielder, not necessarily the weapon. So small, medium, large. One thing you need to learn is I had a friend, very short young lady, and the only trainer she had was a cold steel like hand and a half sword trainer, and she was trying to use it for single, and she was having trouble with it, and I went, okay, let's look at what this weapon is to your scale, because she was very proud of the couple inches over 4 feet she had. This, in her hand, that weapon was not a 1.5 set. It was very clearly, oh, I need to get her wrenched. Thank you. I'll be sure to have that happen. But when she said the Jin's trainer from it's the Type 3. Okay. So it's not the basic one. Nice. That's a nice trainer. Said, this is a great sword in your hands. What? I took it, and my buddy John was around. I said, hey, John, hold this. And he holds it up, and because he's so big, he's like, nice short sword you have there. A dagger for John is a short sword to a sword for me. A short sword for me is a knife for John. A great example is this. This is an 17.5-inch bladed railroad spike. I use it often. This fits the definition of a sword for me. It is the overall weapon. This puts it at a short sword. Is the length of my arm or better? That's the minimum and an almost exactly minimum of a sword for me. Wow, my elbow hurts. I can double grip this sword. If I wanted to, I could fight this like a short wakizashi. Now, is that what it's built for? No. But I can go through the same kind of strikes. I could go through greatsword strikes with it. .32-inch blade and a little over a pound in weight. I bought it when I was trying to do sword. Actually, I got it at the same time as the wooden rondelle trainer. Okay. I mean, I've actually eyeballed that as one of the weapons I would like to purchase myself, since I'm now very certain on the weapon you're talking about. The thing I always try to instill in my students, and I've certainly successfully instilled in Trelena, is that one of the great secrets is do not let the gatekeeping of any type impede your ability to perceive a skill. There are a lot of elitists. There are a lot of gatekeepers. There are a lot of people who will tell you, you can't use that like that. for my hands, for just the basic movements, and this always, if Richie were here, he'd be laughing hysterically. If John Miner were here, he'd be laughing hysterically. I can do two-handed sword drills with this little hammer. And again, because of the weight, it's not that far off from a weapon that would be my size. Look what I can do, does the thing. Exactly. Do not be afraid. Don't be afraid of terminology. If terminology gets in your way, forget it. If technical whatever, labels say you can't do something and you mechanically can, the label is irrelevant. If a technique says it can't. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Kitty. $172 Canadian before shipping, but maybe I needed it for Ruby. I firmly believe sometimes we buy things to be a steward for someone else. That's what Trey's saying, yep, because she knows just how often I'll go, wow, that sword really fits you. And I'll pack stuff up. I'm like, why are you handing me your sword? Bring it back next week when we're training. Obviously, that's not my trainer. That's your trainer. What? And it'll take people a while to realize I just gave it to them. I can't give you guys a trainer. I can't do what I love to do, which is lay out tables with every trainer I have and say, play. Don't worry about form. Don't worry about function. Pick up the trainers, and first we'll figure out what weapon fits your style and what style fits your attitude. We'll get you the basics, and then you get to explore. But the best way to learn anything is through play. And you won't hear other people say this. I understand that. They get very buttoned up, and this is the proper way, and you need to say this correctly, or you need to do this correctly, or why are you doing drills with a crowbar? I had a crowbar. It was roughly 3 feet long. I did drills with it. That's insane. Yes. But did it work? When you are, as a student, and I guess I'm not doing any leather working tonight, which is fine. I am in service of my students. I will do leather working next time, which gives me a little bit more time to get my parts together. But, one, don't be afraid to start cheap because you can always upgrade. The caveat being when you find the exact right thing and it speaks to you. If it speaks to you and you have the means to get it. You may lose it forever. But if you don't know, so what I would do, and not to overstep, if Trey says anything that counters this, just defer to her. She is your trainer. I am just sort of your grand trainer, if you will. There is a bit of a legacy. That being said, figure out your proportions. Figure out what feels good. I would, if I were you. Oh, no, Ruby. And I'm sorry, the more I say Ruby, the more I picture Ruby Gloom, which is terrible. It's just the way my mind associates things. But questions are wonderful. Questions are good things. I love questions. This channel was made so that I could reach out to my students, reach out to my friends, stay in touch, review gear, talk about things, help them, and I could pursue other people to get their questions answered. I'm trying to get scheduled because Sword Sage wants me on his show. A few other people need me on their show for different references. I need to get this cleaned up so I don't look quite so erratic. But questions are the source of all knowledge. We're Canadians. We apologize. Oh, don't worry. I was raised in the West Coast, and my mom's from South Dakota and North Dakota, actually. She lived a lot in both places. It's totally natural to me. I'm just going, as every time you apologize and I don't feel it's necessary, I will apologize for having a situation that you feel you have to apologize to. We all get along very well. But I would get yourself a chunk of PVC, if it's cheap, and 2 end caps, and measure from the end of your tip, the end of the tip of your sword, to the center line. Okay? And from there, you'll have a light trainer that automatically, it will be your version of the anything stick. My anything stick is shorter than others because I need to use it in tighter places. But if you look, it's not that much shorter. It really, for a rapier blade, it's almost perfect for my preference in rapier blades, but it is perfect for my preference in short concussive weapons like machetes. So we have this. You should have at least one. And PVC is great because you can easily, if you get yourself a tool, and I will show you what it looks like. A tool like this, which is a PVC cutter. This is my favorite. They have little screw-on ones you have to spin, but this guy just ratchets down and it's a lot faster. Either way, you could just get a 10-foot chunk of PVC, cut it into 2 or 3 cut it into 3 30-foot sword lengths. You'll have a 3-foot, a 3-foot, and a 4-foot. Get yourself roughly 6 little end caps. Pop them on there. Find what weapon length feels right for you when you move. That's why I encourage everyone to go through the simple sword, because it gives you a one-handed basic approach to finding and how to find what weapon feels right. I will tell you a shortcut is the longest a blade should be is from your center line to your outstretched 2 fingers. That is almost optimum for a rapier. You can go longer, but as soon as you do, your low line parries will suffer. For a concussive blade, the overall length fitting there fits very, very well. I was told to measure by holding the sword at your side, and the tip should reach the top of your ear. That sounds like the Chinese method for measuring it. And that gives you roughly the same proportion. Whichever system works for you. And if it doesn't feel right, then the system is wrong. The reason I'm careful with that is I have one student who is a form of dwarfism. And while they're regularly short, okay, thesis, cool. But their reach was, again, dramatically shorter. So we had to do some different things to make sure it would work for her. And that does bypass the problem of if you are exceptionally well endowed, that can get in the way of this measurement. This is a case of East versus West methodologies that give you the exact same result. it's fascinating to see those parallels. However, and unfortunately, Thesis, we'll have to talk about when you want me, because I know that will be a Saturday and I have to make sure I don't have any obligations. So that's one of those. Feel free to talk to me. I have gone over an hour, and like I said, I didn't get to eat before the stream, so I will have to take care of that. I can tell my blood sugar is getting low, and I need to drink more as I become quite flushed. I apologize wholeheartedly in that I did not get to get into the leatherworking portion. I will do that next week. I have most of the tools acquired here, and I will get the other median things to do that, and I simply won't let the chat pull me off that one too much. Right. See, Thesis, you did teach that. And that's fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong. I teach what I learned. Thesis teaches what he learned. It should be discussion, maybe debate, proper civil debate, but it shouldn't be argument. Okay? And at the end, pick what works for you and discard the rest. That includes just about everything I say. I wouldn't hand you a conceptual weapon like that without understanding that it could be turned against me. As long as you are safe and you are having fun and you are learning. See? See, Thesis? Yeah. Isn't it fun when your students start teaching people things? I know I'm having a blast with it. I get to do the fun parts, and I don't have to be like, do your drills. Although, guys, keep your guard up. Do your drills. Be kind to yourself and each other. And as always, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. This week kind of went bump, but next week will be special. I will make that up to you, and hopefully I can find my eyelet setting tools, and we can go from there. And you might just get a video on how to make a frog. So I will see you guys next week, same time, Friday at 8 p.m. my time. That would be Eastern. I will be happy to answer any questions you have then as well. If it becomes wounds riveting, yes. If it becomes an issue, I may just do a pre-recorded leatherworking video. No. Ruby, your questions are more important than my schedule. So I'm going to try. Let's try this. I would rather have Ruby asking questions because I can help Ruby. I'll just do a pre-recorded video. And I'll make it easier on everybody. I don't do them often as much because they're a lot more intensive. But I will be happy to. I promised people I'd do this as soon as I was physically able to. I will do this. And I'll just do this as, like I said, a pre-recorded video. And I'll throw that up. And then if you have questions, you can ask me in the next live stream. And that works for everybody. So if that sounds good to everybody, I'm going to call it. Get some emergency calories in me. And actually, I'm going to go have pizza. So toodles, folks. Have a great night.